He is the longest tenured Toronto Raptor and has led them with resilience, bouncing back at every turn. In the first quarter, Kyle Lowry was the leader and the igniter, but on the other side, answers. They've come for 5 consecutive seasons in this Warriors run from Klay Thompson and from Steph Curry, who did what he could to keep the Warriors' hopes alive. But Klay went down, Van Vliet rose up, and Daddy continued to make his newborn proud. And then this missed shot officially helped make the Raptors champions for the first time ever. Toronto, welcome the champions home. The celebration north of the border, they are loud, they are strong. And let me tell you something, Jurassic Park, the movie, was loud at the box office. It was nothing compared to that crowd and the one in here that has already once serenaded their team with O Canada tonight. O Canada indeed, last title for any team in that country. The Montreal Canadiens in 1993 was the same year that we saw the Blue Jays try and go for a third straight and miss after winning back-to-back, and that was it. And now they're champions again. The man who helped incite that Raptor riot and Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, Grant Hill, Hall of Famer in Kevin McHale, and I'm the other guy who just gets to pass the ball to him. So let me pass the ball to Mr. Raptor himself and start there. What kind of feelings of pride do you have as you sit there and watch this trophy celebration and now the celebration for this team?
I could not be happier for the country of Canada, for the Toronto Raptors and all their fans, and the team, the players, management. I mean, truly just watching this dream come true for everyone here tonight has been a very emotional moment for me. But I also want to acknowledge how great a champions the Golden State Warriors have been during this run. But, you know, the Raptors, watching them celebrate and seeing the fans and just knowing where we all came from, and to just see this dream really come true, I'm just glad I was alive to see it.
Grant, when you talk about adversity, right? A franchise, sometimes it's not just about a season. This is a franchise that has had that. Will players go there? Will they want to go there? A year ago, when we showed it, Jared alluded to it in the open of our night, that Masai conversation after the last time it was LeBronto north of the border, right? A year ago, we're not going to go through this again. We will make changes. It takes a lot of guts. It's a family show, we'll use that word, to go and give a franchise face in DeRozan, to rent a Kawhi without knowing whether or not you'll keep him. How about what it took to get here, and from top to bottom, the risk-taking that led to the championship run?
Well, you make a great point there. I mean, this time last year, when Golden State won, no one envisioned this right now happening. Toronto was a team that you almost felt like their window of opportunity had closed. They just couldn't get past Cleveland. LeBron James decides to go out west, and like you said, you make a bold decision in bringing in a Kawhi Leonard, who didn't guarantee he was going to stay and hasn't throughout this year. And then you make some other moves, and you bring in certain players. You fire a coach essentially who was coach of the year, and something about Nick Nurse that you identify that he's going to help this ball club. There were calculated risks. Obviously, these risks have paid off, but you have to do that, I think, at times when you run an organization. It's not an easy thing to do. There are a lot of head scratching, a lot of people, well, is this going to work? Well, you know what? It did work. It validates Masai. It validates his vision. And it was storybook in so many ways. And really, you got to just, first of all, as Isaiah said, Golden State, you got to tip your hat to them. Not only as great champions, but they showed so much heart throughout this series. They never quit. They competed. You know, Steph Curry had a shot that, you know, he usually makes. They could have sent this game to a Game 7. Now, I don't know who they would have put on the court in that Game 7 with all the injuries they had, but they fought like champions. But they came up against a team that was determined. It was their destiny. It was their time. And congrats to the Raptors.
Back, it's a game of stars. We've got stars and Hall of Famers on our desk. You had a team which is unlike any maybe we've ever seen in terms of the amount of them that you had. But you know from coaching and playing, it takes a team. So how about the fact that how do we get here? Yeah, Kawhi was brilliant. but Van Vliet hitting the big shots again. Siakam, a huge game again. Lowry, again, a huge game. This was a team that, for the first time in a finals since '94, put up 5 starters with 17 points or more earlier in this series. How about the balance and the organization as a whole using everyone the way they did?
Yeah, they developed their players well early. I mean, Van Vliet comes in and he made big shots down the stretch. Now, Siakam's just improving every single day and getting better all the time. So I like the way they did it. Now, a big move by getting Kawhi Leonard. Let's be honest. This doesn't happen if Kawhi Leonard's not on the team. All these guys can improve all they want, and they lose to some team in the Eastern Conference. Kawhi Leonard was a difference maker on this team, but yet Kyle Lowry set the tone. He started off like a house on fire to start this game, and man, they all started saying, okay, this might be our night. You know what I mean? Because you come into this thing, you know it's last night in the Oracle, and this place has had a lot of magic in it, and they knew coming in that they were going to have to get out to a good start. So it was a total team effort, and I tell you what, I was really happy for Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse took a lot of static the last game for calling that timeout. He's not afraid to do, he put a boxing one in earlier in this series without ever practicing it. That takes guts as a coach, man, because you look and go like, I have no idea if this is going to work or not. We've never done it, and it's the finals. I'm going boxing one. And he wasn't afraid to experiment and do stuff. Different lineups, sat down Danny Green, put Van Vliet in there. So there's just a lot of positives to this Toronto team.
Since Kevin Durant, guys, became a member of the Golden State Warriors, the total number of games in the finals they had lost at Oracle going into this series, 0. They lost not 1, not 2, but 3 consecutive games in this building. It's the first time in the history of the finals that 5 consecutive games won by the team on the road. So much for home court advantage. We go on the road north of the border, and we check in with Skeets, who's live with what could only be described, I would imagine, as pandemonium. We saw the Cubs, Skeets, after all those years. I covered Boston '86 after the last time they'd won a World Series. Take us through what you're witnessing now for a team that had never been where they now are as champions.
Yeah, it's a controlled chaos, I will say that. There's a dance circle going on to my left. There were fireworks going on to my right behind me. People are obviously having a good time. I will say, before I freak out about the Raptors winning a title on live television, prayers up to Klay Thompson. That guy is a stone cold killer. He is one of the greatest shooting guards, I believe. When it's all said and done, we're ever going to see. Again, thoughts and prayers to him. Hopefully the injury isn't all that bad with the knee. Didn't look good, but people are, I will say, a little bit in shock. Maybe it was the way the game ended as well. There was the whole stoppage, and is it over? How much time is left? And then the confetti started to rain. We had rain earlier in the day, and then it was confetti raining, and it's pretty cool. I'm in shock. I know that, being a Raptor fan, growing up a couple hours here from Toronto, and then coming to Toronto over the living here for 15 years. But it's surreal. It's been a very long time in this city since they've had a champion, and they are going to celebrate all night. I know I am. I don't know where the late night Chinese food's going to happen. I've got to pick our spot there. Drizzy, Drake, where's the after party? You can tell me. Yeah, this is going to be fun for a long time here.
Well, we're just happy. Drake apparently invited Grant to an after party somewhere, so I know we're all going as plus ones. We'll check back in.
Grant, text me,
Grant,
man.
come on, man. Shoot a text over.
I'll text you, Skeets. I got you, dog.
It's part of the brotherhood at NBA TV. Speaking of which, we got Trey Kirby, who is somewhere in the crowd amongst the peoples. Another congratulations is due. So give me a sense of the sense you're getting from a group that has now 3 consecutive nights in a building you're not supposed to be able to win, Trey, been able to serenade the home team as they leave to O Canada as their team on the road wins.
Oh yeah, we've heard O Canada impromptu, we've heard dueling cheers, we've heard We the North, we've heard the North remembers, We the champs. I can barely hear myself talking. I feel like Section 102 has been annexed by Canada. They might just stay here. They're closing down Oracle, so maybe this is Toronto West. I don't know. It's insane in here.
All right, don't get lost. Make sure, because you're tall, unlike me, you probably won't. We'll check back in with Trey. From all the festivities in the crowd, how about the team and everything that they had done? We mentioned Kawhi coming over, a big part of the deal, and a guy who also was a huge part of this team in Danny Green. Shot making, defense, and leadership. He is in a festive celebration with our own Kristen Ledlow.
Is it possible to describe this moment?
No, there's no words really. Honestly, just celebration actions. You see everybody just so happy. Brought one home, not just for us, but for the 36 million people watching, our whole country. It's special to be a part of. You know, just trying to enjoy it as much as we can.
How would you describe the journey that it took to get here?
The roller coaster. You know, we never knew where we'd be at, especially since the trade dates and other trades. And, you know, the guys that were with us early on, we did this for them as well. You know, JV, DeLon, CJ, Malachi, Greg, all those guys, happy for them. Wish we could share that moment with them right now. But said ups and downs, trades, this, that happening, injuries, in and out. But, you know, it's all worth it. It's all worth it for sure.
Congratulations, Danny. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you.
For Danny Green, it took everybody, and he had looked some huge shots earlier in the finals, in the game, and the defense, the on-ball defense, and some of the plays that were made. But to go back to what Max said, it all begins with the guy who was the quietest, if you will, MVP you're ever going to see, despite the fact we're talking top 5 all-time points in a final and all these other crazy things. When you look at Kawhi Leonard, we knew that he had improved and become one of the better players. But when you think of a year to a year, right? Think about this, guys. Grant talked about it a year ago. We never would have thought, right, about the Raptors. What was the conversation? If I asked you guys a year ago, let's talk to some people about Kawhi. Oh, well, he's not tough. He don't want to play with San Antonio. Remember all that stuff? How about what happened in a calendar year for him, public opinion and rhetoric-wise, to where we are now?
Oh, it's been, you know, a total 0 to 100 change in terms of the way he's thought of and perceived by the general public. Now, inside the NBA, in terms of the 450 players that are inside the NBA, Grant, Kevin, you know, those guys never lost respect for him, and they always knew who he was as a player, as a leader, and a respected champion from being in San Antonio. When he got here to Toronto, what he did was he stamped this organization with his championship knowledge, his championship pedigree. He and Danny Green, I thought, came in, those two as leaders, those two as champions, and then when they added Gasol, I thought they added the right chemistry in terms of knowledge that play in big moments, understand big moments, know what to do, and don't panic. And Kawhi was always the guy who led him quietly, and when his voice was needed, it was added, but his play was perfection.
You know, they became a business-like team because of Kawhi Leonard. He walked in, took care of his business, and walked out of the arena.
Yes.
There's no jumping around there.
Yeah,
you know, then he came to the next day at practice, did his job, did his work, worked on his game, beat somebody else that night, and went home. I mean, he just went about his business the way a champion goes about his business. You can't get excited every single time you make a basket. And, you know, there's a lot of baskets to be made, but he played so well. But I saw this team become more resilient, just a little bit tougher, a little bit more business-like. And that's why they're champions right now. You don't get chance to hold that trophy up unless you got a lot of business-like guys on your team that understand that this is a tough road and you got to go get it.
You guys make all great points, and I agree. But the thing that's surprising, you know, going back to this time last year when the trade was made, not just the narrative being negative, but he had been out for a whole year.
Yeah.
And as someone who's been out for a whole year, you know how difficult it is to get your rhythm, your timing, and whatever injury he had been dealing with. And he came in from day one and took over this team, as you said, not just in terms of leadership, of confidence, of the business-like approach, but his game. I mean, he came in, and it almost like he got stronger throughout the season. I remember doing a couple games back in February with Isaiah. We were in Toronto, and the resting and sitting out those 20-some-odd back-to-back games, and you kept thinking, when are they going to allow him to get his rhythm, particularly as we roll into the playoffs, and he's going to be needed day in and day out? Well, I'll tell you what, that strategy worked because he was at his best, took his game to another level. And how do you get hurt, sit out a year, and come back better? Your ball handling's better, your finishing around the rim, your ability to pass and find open guys. Like, his all-around play on the offensive end, he didn't come in with that kind of, you know, game, and he's developed that. That's a self-made game. And that's been as impressive as anything that he's done throughout this season.
You know what, Grant? The other thing that I thought he did when he got to the Raptors is we always talk about Kawhi as a two-way player. I think he demanded that everyone becomes a two-way player. And when you look at, they have 6 first, second team, all defensive players on their team. So defensively, what they did in this series, we kept waiting for people to get open, couldn't wonder why they couldn't get shots. Well, Toronto's defense was stellar. And then offensively, guys started stepping up. As Golden State said, there's somebody on the Raptors every single night. It's a different player.
Yeah.
Tonight, Lowry was the guy that got him started. Game 1 or game 2, you know, they had somebody else.
Siakam, game 1, gets 32.
Yeah, so it was always someone different, and Kawhi was the constant. But on the defensive side of the ball, they were always constant.
And
one thing that's been – go ahead, Mike.
Just really quick. Let's give them credit for being high IQ players, too.
Yes.
Because dumb players don't play good defense.
Dumb
players,
people get you beat.
All the time. And these guys were able to put in different sets, different stuff, switch on the right people, knew who they wanted to leave open, knew who they wanted to take shots, who they didn't want to take shots, and executed it perfectly. So that shows to me they're all wired in and they all can think the game, which is a huge part. You very seldom see a low IQ dumb team win, especially in the NBA Finals.
The other teams certainly high IQ, high in culture, will, and spirit, all led by Steve Kerr at the podium.
Before I take any questions, I want to congratulate Toronto. They're a fantastic basketball team. Great defensively, a beautiful style, a lot of great two-way players, and a lot of veteran players who have been in this league contributing for a long time. And so I'm very happy for them. Winning a championship is the ultimate in this league, and they've got a lot of guys who have earned this. So congrats to Toronto, to their organization, to their fans. They are a worthy champion. Let me say a couple words about our team. It's hard to put into words how I feel about our team. What I've witnessed as their coach over the last 5 years, it is just an incredible combination of talent and character and commitment to each other. This just doesn't happen. It's just a group of guys like this don't come around together and do what they did over the last 5 years. And I've been lucky enough to be their coach. That's what I told them in the locker room. I can't tell you my gratitude in terms of just being put in this position, to be with this group and to coach them and to help them. But I could not be any luckier as a coach, to be with these guys every day and to watch them compete. And boy, do they compete. I think they showed that in this series and throughout the playoffs. So with that, I will take some questions.
Anthony, on your right.
Anthony Slater with The Athletic. I know it's obviously so fresh now, but how much do you think, a couple of years from now, you'll look back at this season with the what ifs on the injuries with Kevin and obviously what happened to Clay tonight?
Yeah, I mean, more than the what ifs is just feeling bad for the players involved. Injuries are always part of the NBA season, any professional sport. Injuries play a huge role, and it's just the nature of these injuries, the severity of these injuries, and we'll know more about Clay, but we can sit here and say, well, if this hadn't happened or that hadn't happened, that doesn't matter. What matters is, Kevin Durant is going to miss next season with an Achilles tear, and Clay suffered a knee injury, and we'll know, as I said, we'll know more before too long. But it's just brutal. It's just brutal what these guys have had to deal with and what they're dealing with right now. And so that's my initial feeling.
Tim, over here on this side.
I'll call me the Athletic. Steve, just what is going through your mind when you see Clay go down and obviously in pain, and you already have Kevin out, you have Kevon, wearing an ice pack and a harness practically when he's not playing. As a coach, does it dawn on you that what is happening here, and what are your players saying? What's the emotion through all this?
It's amazement that we're sitting in this position, with, during the game, we have a chance to win the game, force a Game 7, go back to Toronto, and you just think, how has this group of guys put themselves in position to do it? And then, as I said, when Clay goes down and is out for the game, it's just, sort of you got to be kidding me. Like, this has to stop. But it's just the way it's gone. I don't know if it's related to 5 straight seasons of playing 100+ games and just all the wear and tear, but it's devastating.
Came off, it looked like he was not going to come back, and then came back down the tunnel. Did you think he might be able to play again, or was it?
Alshon Jeffrey on Twitter. Congrats, fam. We got fam on set, the longest tenured Raptor, and let me say it now, you'll hear it many times, it won't sound any less sweet, the NBA champion, Kyle Lowry. First of all, congratulations. I got to ask you about leaders set tones, right? Yeah. All of these 3 Hall of Famers on set did. What was your mindset? Because we could tell with your aggression you were attempting to do that and did so successfully in the first quarter.
It was going to be one of them games where, we knew the fans would be into it. They would be going. We kind of wanted to, me personally, I wanted to keep the crowd out of it. And I wanted to come out, be aggressive and be assertive and kind of get to the basket and get my shots up. And every game we've won, I've shot double-figure times. I've shot multiple times, more than 10 times. So I knew that was kind of part of the key, just going out there and being aggressive and playing basketball and doing what I do.
I mean, Kyle, if anybody that personifies this Raptor team over the years in terms of ups and downs and the perseverance that you personally have shown as a man, as a player, to get better, to play harder. Yeah. You've had some tough times in the playoffs. Yeah. You would not shoot well, and then right after the game, you would go in the gym and keep practicing. Yeah. And keep practicing. And I thought tonight, when you came out, all that hard work, all that ups and downs, you learned, you kept getting better, and you came out tonight and set the tone and really took this crowd out of the game because they were ready to explode.
Yeah, I mean, we knew what they were going to be like. We knew this was going to be a crazy environment. For me, it's just about working hard. And, I've had ups and downs, and, I've had playoff failures. I've had a few successes. But tonight was, an opportunity for us.
And you smell like success right now. This is the sweet smell of success right now.
I think I can live in this smell. But just kind of continue to work hard and understanding that the moment is here, the moment is now. And, coming off of Game 5, people thought we were going to be, oh, man. No, we're a team that stayed level-headed the whole time. Nothing mattered but the next moment, the next possession, the next game. And that's the game that we played. Come out, be aggressive, be assertive, and go work.
Kyle, the difference between this year and the last couple of years, that you guys got to the conference finals and stuff, the vibe on the team and just the difference I sensed in you guys as a group. Tell me what it was from the inside. From the outside looking in, it was impressive.
Well, I mean, when we came into this thing, we traded for Kawhi and Danny and Nick Nurse. They're kind of like just stay in the moment. Because y'all know Kawhi. In these lines, he's very serious, and he's been like that all season, just kind of staying in the moment, And Nick Nurse, I said this, he only yelled at us twice this whole year, and just kind of staying calm and staying confident in what we can do. We knew we got a bunch of professional guys out there that wanted to win, work hard, and then when we traded for Mark, that just added to the experience of everything else.
I look at the stat sheet here in this game, and you had a lot of guys step up. Van Vliet played big, Ibaka, Siakam, 26 points. Kawhi Leonard obviously coming in gets a lot of credit, but I don't know if you get enough credit. I felt during the regular season you kind of allowed these guys to blossom. You empowered a Siakam. You, in some ways, took a step back, more of a facilitator. Am I seeing that right? Was that intentional?
I mean, it was part of the growth of our team. Right. You know, we've had failures. So at the end of the day, you got to figure out how to be a better basketball player, a better teammate. And last year, I kind of took a little bit of a backseat. And then this year, listen, I wanted to come in and do whatever the team needed me to do. Pascal growth this year has unbelievable. You guys have watched it all year. Kawhi coming in, I wanted to make sure he knew that he was the man. Like, this was, you know, Kawhi, you are our guy. You are the guy that's going to be the man. And, you know, for me, just kind of like being a point guard and being professional, understanding the moments that we're going to be in. I'm going to need everybody. We're all going to be in this thing together. So we're going to have to fight together. So everybody has to be feeling good.
Kyle, when you sit there and you look at this team, there's no way you can win without trust in another. But there's no way that Fred can be as comfortable as he is and aggressive and confident if he didn't trust that relationship, I'd imagine, that the two of you have. Can you take us to that? And did you speak to him when he was going through some of those slumps as he was waiting for his baby? Because I think everyone at home wants to have babies now just so they can shoot.
Freddie has worked extremely hard to get to this point. He's worked hard. He's come from Rockford, Illinois, you know, the slums, and just worked hard. And through his shooting slumps, it doesn't matter for our team. As long as we're winning as a group, none of that matters. We know it will come back around because of the work that he puts in. Every day he's in the gym shooting. Every day he's in the gym working on his handle. And as a group, when you see your guys shooting every day, working on floaters, threes, free throws, you're confident in what they can do. And, you know, Freddie had the baby, and I think he made like 43 cents. So the key to success is having babies in the playoffs.
Hey, I'll tell you what, there will be a lot of people in Toronto making babies tonight. I promise you that.
Hey, enjoy it.
So before you leave, I want everyone to know this about you.
Yeah.
You know, there have been a lot of great players that have played and wore the Raptor uniform.
Yeah.
But the Raptors have never had a great or better leader than you over the time that you've been there.
I appreciate that.
So I'd like to just say to everybody that the best leader over the 25 years that the Toronto Raptors or the 24 years that the Raptors have been in existence has been you. So congratulations.
That's a huge compliment. I appreciate
and
that.
And that's real talk.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's real
I
talk.
don't know how much that means to me. Like, coming from this legend?
No.
Come on,
I mean,
man.
there may be better players, but in terms of leadership,
I appreciate that.
There hasn't been a better leader than you, Kyle Lowry.
I appreciate
it. And congratulations. I'm happy for you,
Thank
Kyle.
you, Coach.
Congrats,
I appreciate
Kyle.
it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Kyle Lowry, the champ on set. We get a chance to
the sweet smell of success.
Go from the sweet smell of success to a team that's had plenty of that and now sits on the other side. Steph is at the podium.
Littell, BSO. When Draymond was in here, Steph, he said that he felt like a lot of people looked at this like an ending to you guys' run, but that would be a mistake on their part. Can you talk about the resiliency of your team, and if indeed you had that feeling as well, and should people not put you guys in the grave right now?
I mean, tough way to go out. You obviously credit Toronto on a great series. They went out and won it. They played amazing tonight, all across the board. They had contributions, and yeah, it's a tough feeling, you know, being on this side of losing in the finals. But I think a lot has been, you know, proven about who we are as a team and the fight that we have and all the adversity that we dealt with, and you know, this entire playoff run, and you know, it's a one-possession game to keep our season alive tonight. So we'll be thinking about this one. It's tough, but our DNA and who we are, and you know, the character that we have on this team, I wouldn't bet against us. You know, being back on the stage, you know, next year and going forward. So really proud of the way that we fought to the end. And this 5-year run's been awesome, but definitely don't think it's over.
Next question right here.
Julianne Herrera, ABC 7 News. Despite the loss, can you just talk about all the emotions you're feeling that this is the last game at Oracle? I mean, for these fans, this is their Roracle. They love this place. And what are you feeling now that this is really over?
I mean, a lot of different emotions, a lot of thoughts. No regrets at all about again, what we've been able to accomplish and even how this series ended. So we've had a lot of great memories in this building. I think it's iconic in the sense of our entire history of this organization and how we got to this point. And, you know, whenever I drive by it, I'll have great memories of, again, what we've been able to accomplish in this building. And as we, you know, move across the bridge, want to be able to continue that and create new memories. So hopefully, you know, every fan that was in this building appreciates the journey and the ride. You know, every fan that was watching how Oakland held us down, you know, for 47 years, and turn the page to you know, bigger and better things, you know, coming for this franchise.
Steph proving again during this playoff, not just one of the great leaders in the game for his team, but of the NBA. Speaking of leadership, a guy who Kyle Lowry just said only yelled at us twice during the course of the year, and now gets to add one NBA championship in his first season as a head coach of Nick Nurse. And first of all, congratulations. So
Thank you.
You seem to be such an even-keeled, heartbeat guy, but now take me inside the truth when Draymond calls a timeout, you realize they don't have any, and you're going through those final moments. What kind of thoughts are going through your head about what this moment was about to mean for you?
Well, I was wishing they didn't give him the timeout because there was only a second left. I was hoping that horn was going to go off, man. I was like, that's the only chance they could somehow pull this thing off. And then we just had to figure out what the heck was going to go on and hopefully make the 2 free throws, and then that would be all she wrote. So I was sitting down. I was trying to not jump the gun until the buzzer went off.
You said after Game 5, you said everybody expects us to kind of maybe go crazy. I'm just excited to coach another NBA Finals game. How much do you feel that mantra of looking at just the moment in front of you translated for your team as this year went on?
Well, I think, you know, I've been in some situations before where you've been this close and it's got away from you and you don't recover. I mean, the key was we had to just forget about, you know, we were up 6 with 3 minutes to go in the last game, and heck, man, that's nothing in an NBA game. And we didn't happen, the ball didn't bounce our way. We had ran a couple good plays. Mark had a layup. Kyle had a shot. We didn't make them. They did. And just get on and go play the next game. And I was excited to coach another one. Man, this is a thrill. It is a real thrill.
Nick, I want to ask you about, you know, your 5 years as an assistant, and how long have you been with Kyle Lowry, seeing him go through his ups and downs. And I'm sure as an assistant coach, when he was going through those ups and downs, you probably spent a lot of time with him, helping him get through those tough, rough moments in the playoffs, talking to him, nurturing him, and to see him become the type of leader that he became for your team over these years. How pleasant is it to see a player rise from a leadership standpoint, but not necessarily, you know, we see Kawhi has improved his game, but very rarely do we see leaders rise in this league the way Kyle has led this basketball team.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm super happy for him. You know, 6 years ago when we got there, we weren't even, well, we didn't know what I was doing, first of all. My first year in the league, we didn't really know.
Like all of us when we get in.
Yeah, man, we didn't really know, you know, where Kyle was. He was just kind of a part-time starter at that point. So he took a step to become our full-time guy. Our chemistry was really good that first year. Case did an awesome job of just pounding away at the defense and working at chemistry, and we won 48 and got in the playoffs. Then he kind of developed into, you know, he got an all-star bid and thought he worked on being able to go right a little better the next year. And the thing he did the best this year, and this was a big goal of our entire team, was he played so much more emotionally unflappable, right? He was just so much more in control of, I don't know, he was just more confident, right?
Yeah.
And like for him to play so great in the playoffs, he hasn't had some great playoff series, and for him to play so great, I couldn't be happier for him.
You know, Nick, obviously winning a championship is the goal from day one. And there were a lot of teams as the East changed, you know, other teams that people talked about. Your team, obviously, Toronto was one of them in the preseason. I just want to know, was there a point during the regular season and or in the playoffs where collectively as a group they believe, like everyone says they want to win, but they really truly believe, hey, we have a chance here to do something special?
Well, I think a little, we obviously thought we were among the best teams in the East, but we knew it was anybody's deal up there, right? There was 4, 5, 6 teams that were all thinking, hey, we could get hot at the right time and go to the finals this year. I think late February, March, we started really moving the ball, right? Our assists just started going up. We started shooting the 3. I think we felt a bigger sense of who we could become. But it really wasn't till about Game 2 of the playoffs. We got our butts kicked by Orlando in Game 1. We just didn't play well enough. And that was one of the times I yelled at him after Game 1. I was just like, are we going to start playing harder or what? Right? And we went out like literally in Game 2 and started guarding like awesome. Right? We just all of a sudden like flipped this defensive switch and realized, listen, if we play like this, then that defense could probably take us anywhere we want to go. And I think that's probably was a turning point for me anyway.
Nick, you had Kawhi comes in. Was he better than you thought? Because I look at his game and what he was a few years ago and what he is today. Was he better when you first started seeing him in practice and game after game than you thought he was?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's great, right? Mm-hmm. And he was great, 5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever it was. But when we first got him, and you don't really know him until you get him. Just like the first preseason game, he was, he got like 18 in the first half, and it was like effortless. And I was just like, geez, man, this guy's really good. He was shaking his guy and was wide open and like not shooting and then letting them guard and then shaking him. I was like, take the first one, man. What are you doing? But again, the biggest thing with him, Mac, is that he just unflappable. Yeah. Like in everything, he just was unflappable. And he'd correct me when I'd say something silly like, "Hey, we're going to go out to Oakland. All we need is a split," and he'd say, "Bleep that. We're getting both of them." And he meant it. Or when we won the Eastern Conference Finals, he came straight over to me and said, "We ain't done." And it's not like a guy just yakking. I mean, he's like, we ain't done, and I mean it. And watch. I'm gonna make sure we ain't done. And he's awesome.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well deserved, and enjoy that reception you're about to get in Toronto.
There you go.
Sometimes they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. We've got more coming up on the other side. Our NBA Finals coverage continues live from Oracle, presented by YouTube TV. The Raps are champs.